In this video, we'll be talking about how Elon Musk has super duper crazy expectations and how he pushes his whole team to their limit. How is he able to make each and every individual push out 150% of their effort? And how does he find all these talented people that help him build all his major companies such as Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, Neuralink? And that's exactly what we'll be breaking down in depth in today's video. Let's jump into the video. Elon Musk's ruthless team expectation and hiring process. So let's go over his team expectations. Elon Musk would always ask his employees, do more, be better, whether it was at the office or doing some extracurricular activities. Elon would never show to his employees his financial problems or any other stress. He always communicated it is important to be lean and sort of save as much money and find the cheapest way to do things because that would lead to success. He would never sort of put his financial pressures on them. Like if he was in debt, he would not let them know about his stresses or his worries. It was never, if we fail, we're done for. He was very optimistic. Tesla treated its car company like a small startup, hiring a bunch of young, hungry engineers, and they figured things out along the way. When testing their cars, unlike most automakers who would test the cars for 2 to 3 days in the Arctic Circle, head back to headquarters, spend many weeks doing meetings on how to adjust the car, looking at the data, Tesla sent engineers along with the Roadster being tested, and they would analyze the data on the spot so they could tweak the code and send the car back on ice on that very same day. Very efficient. Next is Musk had a very demanding management style that can only flourish because of otherworldly aspirations that he put onto the company. There was only one company that you can work if you wanted to conquer the solar system, and that goal itself gets you out of bed every morning. His vision was so clear and it almost hypnotizes you. Like, my whole team knows that my goal is to create 1,000 success stories all over the world, and maybe I have to take a step up, become one of the biggest education companies that changes people's lives all over the world. Maybe I have to even up my goal even more. Who knows? I'm writing that down. Another thing he does is he'll pick the most aggressive time schedule imaginable, assuming that everything goes right and there is no issues whatsoever. Then he would accelerate it by assuming that everyone can work harder. So you should aim for a date that assumes for 0 issues from the very beginning, because he said aiming for something else would have been an arbitrary time increase. There's 2 ways to get the most out of his employees. One, you could either tell them you have to do this at 2 p.m. or you have to get this done by Friday at 2 p.m. Or 2, I need the impossible done by Friday at 2 p.m. Can you do it? Very, very important phrase. I'm going to write that down on my whiteboard so I can use that more. When you say yes, you're not working hard because he told you to do so. You're working hard for yourself. It's a distinction that you can feel that you've signed up to do your own work. Elon Musk has to sign off on every expenditure over $10,000. An employee could be telling Musk that there's no way to get the cost of something like an actuator down to a price that he wants it to, or that there's not enough time to build this part by Elon Musk's deadline. And we reply, fine, I'll take you off the project. I'm now the CEO of the project. I'll do your job and be the CEO of 2 companies at the same time, and I'll deliver it. Every time he's fired someone and taken their job, he's delivered on whatever project it was. And one of his visions is, in order to get to Mars, we need to make sure your output is high. If we're throwing a bunch of shit in your way, you need to be mouthy about it. If you hate people and you think human extinction is okay, then leave the company. Like, that's pretty intense. Next is loyalty. Long-term employees would get fired without a second of thought if they weren't needed anymore. And there was a story of him and one of his assistants. The assistant has worked with him for like 10 years. She works 7 days a week, does everything for him, and she asked for a raise. And it was like, how about this? You take 2 weeks off, I'll try to do your job, and like just take 2 weeks off. And then Elon Musk found out that in those 2 weeks, he was able to manage completely fine with a cheaper assistant and do things on his own. And he found out that he didn't need her anymore, and he fired her. Now, maybe this was done and it was calculated to keep the workforce on their toes and scared. So if something was consolidated, it would be. Now let's go over the hiring process. SpaceX hiring put emphasis on the top marks at top schools. So most attention goes towards spotting engineers who would have exhibited type A personality traits. And on top of that, they want to be looking for people who have history of doing robot building competitions, car racing hobbyists, building unusual vehicles, people who ooze passion, teamwork, real world experience, bending metal, People who have built things since they were little. That's the type of people they are looking to hire. And during the hiring process, SpaceX provides a coding problem that requires 500 plus lines of code. 2, there's an interview process. And 3, they are asked to write an essay for Musk about why they want to work at SpaceX. And then during the interviews with Musk personally, like he's interviewed thousands of the initial employees. He'll either ask one or several questions, it depends on how he feels. And he will often roll out a riddle. You're standing on the surface of the earth. You walk 1 mile south, 1 mile west, 1 mile north, and you end up exactly where you started. Where are you? Pretty tricky question. The answer is North Pole. Most engineers would get that. Then we'll ask the following question. Where else could you be? And the answer would be the South Pole. He tends to care less about if the person gets the answer correct more than how they describe the problem and their approach to solving it. SpaceX's first 1,000 hires, including janitors and technicians, has been interviewed by Elon Musk himself. Another thing he would do is he would call teaching assistants at Stanford's aeronautics department and ask, do you have any hardworking, bright, masters and doctorate candidates who don't have any families? Because he wants to hire people who don't have any strings attached and they could really commit full and all in into the company without any baggage. Really smart tactic. Next is Elon Musk hired George Blankenship, a former Apple executive, to run its stores and service centers. If you go to a Tesla store, they're beautiful. That is because he hired someone who was credited for building the Apple store. So George was someone who built all the beautiful Apple flagship stores. He just hired that guy to do his Tesla stores. So hire the best people. Peter Thiel, one of the co-founders of PayPal and one of the initial investors for Facebook, is mostly impressed by Musk's ability to find bright, ambitious people and lure them in to his companies. He has the most talented people in aerospace and motors industry working for him. Now let's go over Elon Musk's flaws. Really smart people sometimes don't understand that not everyone can keep up with them or go as fast. So the reason why he has such high expectations is because he knows that that task he could simply do with complete ease. So if he sees someone struggling with it or taking way too much time, it's gonna trigger him. And that's just because he's so smart and so productive. So that's one of his flaws, and that's something I need to understand. Like something that might take me 2 hours might take someone a whole day, and I might be like, dude, you wasted 8 hours doing that. They're like a normal person, and I need to take that into account. But yeah, that's how Elon Musk pushes his team to the limit. That's his whole hiring process. Hope you guys learned, because I learned a lot from these. As always, if you guys want this site completely for free, in the description below, get them for free. I know a lot of people like these notes I spent hours putting together. Get it in the description below. On that, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Let's go ahead and announce the last video of winners for $1,000 worth of courses, a consulting course with me. The winner, see if you guys want to qualify, all you have to do is drop a comment below, follow me on Instagram, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like this video, and I'll be picking the best comment every single video. So yeah, hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow with nothing but more value. Peace.